Hey, what's up guys? I am back with another video today for part 47 of our series on how to build a blog with Laravel. And anyway, what we're going to be doing today is just finishing up a little bit more about image upload. I was originally going to end it where we ended it last week, but you guys I've got a lot of requests for various different things with image upload. And so I'm just going to touch on a few of the most important ones. We're not going to be doing exhaustive image upload. Obviously, I got requests for everything under the sun as far as image upload is concerned, and I can't do all of it, obviously. But I'm going to hit up some of the important ones that I figured would probably be useful for you guys. And that's basically editing and basically like updating an image with replacing with an existing one and also deleting it. So those are the two things we'll focus on in this video. Once again, I'm not going to go through. There's a couple other places you would want to implement image upload, but I'm going to leave that for you guys as homework, okay? You're obviously doing it in very much the same way as I've already taught, so I just don't think it's worth going on and wasting a ton of time to do something we've already basically learned. And so let's kind of think about it as homework for you guys to now implement what you learned. So I've already taught you guys, the basics of image upload. And now if you want to add that to, say, I'm trying to think what some of the requests were, like you guys wanted to add it now to the to another page, like an edit page. Well, you guys should be able to do it on the edit page pretty easily because you already know how to do it, right? And so it's gonna be very, very similar. So adding it on those areas would be really, really, really simple. Also, another thing that a lot of people were asking was adding how to show the image on one of the pages I didn't do. I think like if you're on the back end with the posts, how to show the image over there. Well, once again, guys, it's the same thing that we already learned for the front end. So you would just add that image tag up there. So you guys should know these. The point of the series, again, is just kind of it's to teach you guys the principles, not necessarily walk you through every last step. I wanted to walk you through most of the steps, but I want you guys to kind of see the principles of how to do this so that then you can do it without me later. So that was kind of the goal. Okay, so let's just real quick look at what we've got here and what we need to add. So let's see, what's my email address? hello@jacurtis.com. But again, we are getting to the end. There's only one more video left that I know of. We're going to be doing just a deployment. Okay, so we did show our image here. So we have found a way to do an image. On the post side, we haven't done it here. You can't see the image here. That's something that we can add. And again, it'd be really easy. You're adding an image tag with your post with your image up here, so it's pretty simple. And what we're gonna do though is just when you edit the image, we'll need to create another place to update the image here, so that you could upload a new image if you want. And then, well, obviously when you save it, you'll update that image as well, which includes deleting the old one. So that's kind of what we're gonna focus on in this video. And that I think will summarize most of what you guys need to know to continue on and to at least start your knowledge with image upload in Laravel, okay? So as the tutorials get more complicated, which again, I wanna get to, but as the tutorials get more advanced, we are going to, see different ways to do image upload, how to do drag and drop and stuff like that. And so keep in mind that all of that is going to come in time. And obviously, we're already covering a lot of that through. We're already covering a lot of the image upload information, the more advanced image upload on the live coding session. So for those of you guys that haven't seen that, head on over to livecoding.tv. It's called livecoding.tv/jacurtis. And you guys can follow me over here, and we're actually doing, we do live sessions. In fact, I've got one here in a couple hours. We do live sessions here where basically I sit here and we just work on projects. You guys can live chat with me over in the chat, and we learn all sorts of good stuff. So over there, we've been doing image upload as well in a little bit more advanced form. So there are other ways to kind of expand your knowledge there, but we'll be doing it when we get to the e-commerce, because obviously images will be important with the e-commerce series, which again, I'm dying to get to. I've got to get rid of just got to finish this blog series, and we're just so close. Okay, all of that's out of the way. Talking about validation now. One of the other questions that you guys got, which I meant to cover in the first video, and I kind of just forgot. I skipped over that section of my notes. Well, what actually happened is I actually filmed that session twice. So I filmed it once, and it was really good. And then I realized that my microphone hadn't been on the entire time. So when I went to edit it, I didn't have any audio. So I had to go through and do the entire episode. So that's what happened. And when I did it the second time with the audio, I forgot to talk about validation. So when you validate, you can validate in very much the same way you would validate anything else. The difference here is you've got some different, validation rules. So for example, you have a file. You can make sure that there was a file successfully uploaded. So that's one option you might want to try if you just want to see if there's a file there. Maybe you're making the file required. You can see if a file is of a type of image. So this tells you if it's a JPEG, a PNG, a GIF, GIF. I'm not going to get into that debate right now. The BMP or the SVG, all those tell you that it's an image. So it can tell you if you're making sure that what they uploaded is an image. That's one other validation rule that you can use. And then there's different things like Mime Types, for example, or Mime Types by extension. This lets you declare special Mime Types that are allowed. And a Mime Type is basically, just think of it as like a file type. Okay, so you have like a PMG, a JPEG, these are all file types. A PDF would be a file type. All these different things. If you were doing Excel files, maybe you wanted to require people to do a .csv or a .xl. Is it XLS? XLSX? Yeah, that's an Excel file. So you could put these special Mime Types here to make sure people have, certain files. If you're requiring a certain type of file, then you could require it here as a validation rule, okay? And these work very much the same way as everything else. So let's just go ahead and add validation real quick. Just take a look at that. So we're gonna do CD, we're already in here. So let's go ahead and open up our project. I actually don't have Sublime open, or I don't have Sublime installed on this computer yet. And for those of you guys that might not notice, I still can't do my zooming and stuff, but what I can do is I went ahead and declared this a smaller, I made a smaller window, so everything should be a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, so let's head on over to our controllers and our post controller. Right where we picked up in the last video, we did our store request and we added all of our image. What we want to do here is when we request for this featured image field, we can just make certain requirements. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to do request, or we don't need a request. We're just going to do featured image, and then we're going to make it. We're not going to make it required, so we'll do sometimes, which means only validate it if there's something in it, so meaning it's not required, but run these validations if there's something there. Okay, that's what sometimes means. So we'll use sometimes, and then we're just going to call it photo is what I think it is, or image. It's image. Let's just double check that. So we're gonna head on over here. Under our validation rules, you guys know where to get these. You can find image. Okay, so it's just called image. That's really all we need. Yeah, that's basically all we're going to require is that it's an image. So you could stack other ones on here. Again, you guys know how to do that. If you need to see that it's certain byte size, a file size, you could require that. There is a, I think it's size. Right here, for files, size corresponds to the file size in kilobytes. Okay, so if you wanted to, you wanted to make sure that the size matches a certain value, you can do that. Okay, so we're not going to require that. We're just going to make sure it's an image. And then that was basically all we need to do for validation. So now let's talk about editing and updating. Okay, so basically with editing and update, we obviously need to have an image upload field in our edit form. So we can go over and add that real quick. You guys know how to do that. And then the second thing we want to do is obviously just check to see if there's an image uploaded. And if there is, then we would want to delete the old one and add the new one and update it in our database. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Let's see what's needed for that. Okay, so let's head on over to our view. We're going to go to resources, views. And then we'll do posts and we'll do the edit this time. And then in the same place last time, we had it between tags and body. So let's go ahead and just make another field here for our file. So we need a label real quick, and we're going to call it featured image, right? And then we're going to say update. Oops, put this update featured image. And then leaving it blank obviously will not update it, just keep the same one there. Okay, so we're gonna make a file, and then inside the file, we're just gonna call it featured image. Okay, and that's not really all that we need. So if we head on over to our edit now, we should have that available. So if we come over here, let's refresh, And now you can see we can update this featured image. Of course, the padding's a little bit off. These other ones have a lot of space, but you guys get the idea. So let's just real quick, you can see all of these have this class of form spacing top. So we can just add this right here. Okay, and then that will just give us the little additional spacing. So update featured image. Now they add it. We do need to make sure that our files are set to true up here. Once again, just like last time. So under form model, inside of this array, we're just going to set another one and we're going to say files equal to true, like that. Okay, so now our view is set up. So now we can go ahead and bring it in on our post controller. Okay, so now in our post controller, let's see, what we're going to do is down here. In fact, up here, what we can do is, let's see, what do we got going on here? Okay, so what we can do is let's actually just get rid of this if statement. This checks to see if the slug is unique or not. But what we can do is we'll just use our unique tag and we'll do this validates request. Let's see, what's this belong to? I think that belongs to the, there we go. Just clean that up a little bit. For category ID, what we're gonna do is we're going, or for slug, we're going to say unique post slug, and then we can add the current ID like that, I believe. Let's just double check the documentation. Okay, so yeah, we just need to pass in our ID number for that. We don't need to test it again. So in this case, we can just grab just the ID. We'll have that ID number. So for this one right here, we can just do ID. So let's add double quotes instead of single quotes. That way we can interpolate. And yeah, you can see how it changed color. Now it allows us to have that in there. So this will now automatically not trigger it when the same slug, it'll basically ignore that same slug. So it checks to see if the slug is unique for everything other than itself. All right. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that. And now we can add another validation here. So we'll just validate that featured image is equal to photo, or not photo, image. And that's all we need to do for that. And then down here, right before we save, what we can do is we can add the if statement to see if someone has added a photo. Okay, so if they've added the photo, then we know that they need to, if they've added the photo, then we know we need to update it. Okay, if they haven't added the photo, we're just going to ignore it, which will basically just leave the old photo there. Okay, so we're gonna do request file, and in fact, what we can do, because it's just an if statement, we can just do request featured image, like that. That'll just give it true if there is a featured image, and false, and then it will go into the if statement, and it will not go in the if statement if they didn't fill out the featured image. Okay, so then if they have the featured image, what we want to go through and do, we'll just write it down, is we're going to want to delete the old photo, add the new photo, and then we want to update the database to reflect that new photo. Okay, so to do this, in fact, actually what I want to do here is we're going to delete the old photo after the new photo. Okay, so we're going to, just in the off chance someone tries to access that photo, the split second that this is running, which is pretty rare, but hey, it could happen, we'll add the new photo, then we're going to update the database, then we'll know it's safe to delete the old photo. So we'll do it in that order. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to start by adding the new photo, and this is going to run very similar to what we did up here with our photo. So we can actually just grab this because it's going to be almost identical. Okay, has file. We need to. Okay, so let's do this right here. We're going to paste this in. Let's also change this to has file. Oops, it's like this, has file. Okay, cool. Oh, we need a second one. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to make a variable called image. We're going to set it equal to the featured image in the only if there is something there, obviously. Then we're going to create our file name. We can give it the same structure as before, so that can stay the same. We're going to create a location path. It's going to go in the same location, so that's okay. And then let's see, image, and then we're actually making the photo and saving it back in, so that can stay exactly the same as well. and then we update the database. So this is the part that we can, let's pull that out. I'm going to cut that out real quick. And then really quick before we, here, I'm going to save it in the database down here. We'll update the database with the new file name. But what we'll do here before we update it is let's grab the old file name so we can delete it out of our database. Okay, so let's call it old file name and set it equal to post image. Okay, so that'll grab it before we've updated it. It's going to get the old file name and store it in here. Then we'll go through and update it with the new file name. And now we come through and delete the photo using old file name because we'll remember what the old file name is, right? So we can go and get that file and delete it. Okay, now so in order to delete the photo, what we're going to need to do is use the storage facade. So if we go back over to our documentation up here, this is the Laravel documentation. We can go up to the storage facade, and in the storage facade, we can delete files. Okay, so here's deleting files, and what we're gonna, you can see that all you basically do is just do storage delete, and then you give it the name of the file that you want to delete. Okay, so the one thing you might need to change is you might just need to change the disk that it's on, and we haven't, I guess, gone over this at all. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the storage facade really briefly, because I just remembered we didn't do it in the last video. All right, so we're just going to do this storage delete, but what we need to do real quick is do some setup. Okay, so back in Atom, what we're going to do this time is we're going to let's see, we need to go to our configuration file. So where's our config? Let's see, config's down here. Okay, so config, and then we'll go to file systems this time. And with config file system, this is what allows us to edit the storage facade. Okay, so the storage facade is built into Laravel. It allows you to basically add, update, delete photos, or not just photos, but any type of files, and save them either locally or remotely. So you can see here we can actually save them locally like we've been doing, or you could even save them to a cloud service like Amazon S3. And you can actually have multiple drivers set up. So here you can see we have a Rackspace driver, we have an S3 driver. These are cloud services, so Amazon S3, Rackspace. And then these are local services. Well, this is the local one. So you can have a local driver that allows you to save it locally in your files over here. So this is the one we're going to be editing today. We're going to just take this, the root file is what we're going to change. So for the root file that we save it in, we're going to change where it goes. Okay, so it's going to go to our public path. And then it's going to go to, just double check this. It's going to go to images and just save it inside of our images. So we'll go images, like that, and we should be good to go. So now it knows where to save it by default, okay? And the default here is local, okay? So now it's gonna, by default, save in this disk, is what each of these is called, a disk, and it's gonna save it locally, and it's gonna save it to this root, which is our public/images. All right, so we're done with this config file. If we come back over here, what we can do is we're going to do, let's do, okay, we're going to grab the storage, and we're just going to say delete, and we're going to now delete the old file name, just like that. And that's basically all we need to do. So by default, it's going to go to that public path. It's going to find something with the old file name, and then it's going to delete it, and it's going to be no more. Now it'll be safe because we've already updated the database with the new file name. So there'll be a split second here where both files exist. This one exists, the new file, or sorry, this is the new one. The new one exists, and then we update it so that the database knows to now start pointing to the new one, and now it's safe to delete the old one. Okay, so that's kind of the path that we're going to be taking. And then when all of this is done, we just save the post back to the user. Okay, so I guess there's a millisecond there that something might go wrong, but it'll be fine. So that's basically it. Let's go ahead now and test this. Let's actually test this now and see how it works. So let's head back over here. And oh, there's one thing I know we're going to have a problem with. So let's head back over to Atom. Because we're using the storage facade, we need to make sure we call that in. So we need to go back up here, and we now need to use storage. All right, just so that we can use that storage facade. All right, so now we're good to go. Let's go back over to Chrome, and I'm just gonna refresh this. And now we're gonna update this with a different file. So let's see if I've got a different file here. Okay, here's a blank Recaptcha, or let's do part 2. So last time we saved part 1, now we're gonna save part 2. So let's open this. We're gonna now attach part 2 Recaptcha. We uploaded part 2 of the image, and now we're gonna click save. And as we save, it was successfully saved. If we head back over to our the actual blog, you can see that now we're getting part 2, which is awesome. And if we head back over to Atom and take a look at our files under public images, we still only have one image, which means it deleted the old one. And the new one here is part 2. So we've deleted part 1, which is what was here before. And now we just have part 2. So this allows us to basically update the photos. All right, so that's basically it. Now, the one thing you might want to do also is if you do get down to the delete method, if someone destroys a blog post, so we're in post controller destroy, before you delete the photo, it might be a good idea, like while you're detaching things, you also might want to delete the image. It's not a big deal if you don't, because it's not going to break your application. The photo will delete. There'll be no more link to that. The photo won't delete, but the post will be deleted safely, and there just won't be a link to this photo anymore. The problem is now you're just taking up a little space on your server because this photo is now stranded and doesn't belong to anything. So one thing you might want to do while you're down here is after maybe you've detached the tags, you could let's see. Let's grab that file name. Well, we don't even need to do that. Let's just grab the storage, delete. And we'll just delete that photo real quick. So we're going to do delete, and then we'll do post image. Is that what we called it? Hold on, let me just double check that. Yeah, it's post image. Okay, so we're just going to grab the current value of post image because we haven't deleted it yet, so it's safe to grab it. We got the value of post, so now we have post image at our disposal. And we're just saying, hey, go here and delete this image. It'll delete the image, and then it deletes the post. And that way, we're not going to have that space taken up, okay? So that allows us to update and delete the photos as you guys requested. Also, it allows us to validate the photos. So I think that'll be helpful for you guys. So now we have a pretty good little system going on here. If we wanted to show the photos, I'll just go ahead and add that as well. If we want to show the photos on the back end, let's say when we view this, we want to show the photo, we can just show it up here. Same way we did before. Pretty easy. You're just going to go to your resources, your views. It's going to be under posts, and then under show, this shows an individual post on the back end, remember? And just here above H1, what we can do is just grab a image tag, and we'll give the image source is going to be equal to asset, just like before, nothing different here. Let's see, it's going to go to images / and then the name of the photo. So we'll go post image, just like that. Okay, so now if we head back over, hold on, we're missing a tag here, just like that. Okay, and you might want it for, we're not focusing on things like this in this video, but technically you would also want an alt tag here. This is a photo, not a good alt tag, but you would also want these for SEO purposes. So come back over here, refresh, and now you can see we're getting that we get the photo here on the back end as well. Okay. So yeah, that kind of shows you guys how to do that. I hope that was useful for you guys, and hopefully you guys learned something from that video. Just how to add, I guess we did our update and delete photos, and then also validation. Okay, so once again, we're getting to the end of the series. The next video is going to wrap it up, I promise, and we're going to upload to a we're going to host the file and upload it to the internet so we can use it. We're not going to be doing shared hosting. Everyone's requesting shared hosting. Unfortunately, I'm just not going to do it just because it doesn't work well for Laravel. Laravel is a very big framework. It doesn't work on shared hosting. There are people that are able to hack it and make it work, and that's great, but it doesn't work very well. Okay, so it's a hack, and it really needs its own server. That's kind of what it's designed for. And there are some things that I don't think ever get working in Laravel. This project would probably, or on a shared host. This project might work on a shared host, but if you get into more advanced projects that need cron jobs like events and stuff like that, I don't think any of those work on when you put Laravel on a shared host. You really need access to a full server. So we'll be doing that in the next video. We'll be uploading it to a full server that we have full access through. We'll control it via SSH and everything. So that's what we'll be doing in the next video. And then we'll wrap up this series and we'll get started with some more advanced stuff that I think you guys will really enjoy learning. So until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.